my name's Sarah Surgey and I'm the author of the children's book Ghiozdanul cel greu. It's published in Romania by Carte. The heavy bag in English. Ghiozdanul cel greu is a children's book which explores grief and the feelings of grief which children experience. It was first written during the pandemic. I was teaching children and I was also working for a mental health charity for children, and everything stopped. And we all went into isolation. I mean, this was here in the UK and it was in Romania. And I just kept hearing adults talking about carrying this heavy bag of emotions. And then for our children, I mean, they were experiencing grief and loss on a daily basis. It was on the news. They were hearing about death counts, numbers. They were seeing people becoming ill through COVID. And children were carrying heavy bags as well of emotions. So I wanted to write something that could reach out to children and start conversations with them and to explore the feelings that they might be feeling. So Ghiozdanul cel greu does just that. It's a children's book which explores the feelings, and it takes the child through the 5 stages of grief. So they will feel that they're in denial, first of all. They'll feel sadness. They'll want to bargain with the person that has passed. They'll feel anger. They'll feel quite angry. And then they'll feel acceptance. The book, Ghiozdanul cel greu, has lots of very lovely illustrations. It's illustrated by a lady called Larissa Ivankovic. And Larissa worked with me during lockdown to produce some very lovely illustrations which really reach out to children. They're very vibrant, and each illustration really depicts everything that is said in the text in the book. The book follows a little girl named Enid. You can see there, and Enid has just lost her granddad. So she goes out for a walk to try and deal with her emotions and her feelings. And on her walk, she comes across various people who in life children would be happy to talk to. And Enid stops and speaks with them. And what she realizes is every time she speaks of how she's feeling, she talks about an emotion. The person that she's speaking to takes out an item from her bag, one of the 5 items, and helps her to carry that item. Her bag becomes lighter. So children are learning that as they share how they feel, they're sharing their emotions, things feel a little bit lighter. And it's encouraging children to talk to people about how they feel because, you know, we can help them. We are there and we can help them carry that load. Each item that Enid takes from her bag has some kind of memory which relates back to her granddad. For example, a telescope that her and her granddad used to look up at the stars with. And Enid said, but now he's left me. And the person that she's speaking to at the time says to her, I will take this telescope and other people can look at the stars. That's what your granddad would have wanted. So each item that comes from the bag has a special meaning and a memory. And towards the end of the book, Enid realises that she can share how she feels. But also, although the items go and although granddad has gone, memories remain. And the memories will always be there. So this was a book which I wrote in lockdown, and it's now been translated from English into 9 languages. So it's spread all across Europe. It's in stores. It's been used by families. It's now been used by schools across the UK and Germany and Belgium. And it's being used with people who go in and work with children who are experiencing grief or loss, or maybe children that haven't experienced that yet, but it's just a good way to start those conversations. So I hope that children will be able to in the future relate back to the book Ghiozdanul cel greu. It's also been used in Germany by UNICEF, which is just amazing. So UNICEF have completed some workshops during lockdown with international schools, and we did some workshops. I did the workshops with them, and we just used the book to speak to the children, and we read the book to them, and we spoke about the illustrations because children really love the illustrations, and it was amazing. I mean, we were doing this Zoom because it was in isolation at the time in lockdown with these children at this international school in Berlin. English was their second language, but that didn't matter. The barrier wasn't there because they understood the metaphor. The metaphor translates quite easily of carrying this heavy bag. And some of the UNICEF workers who were there used puppets. They used an Enid puppet, and the children were able to explain how they feel and explore their feelings. So I think that's really important with children's books, is that it's such a good way to start conversations, and it's such a good way to plant a seed with children. They'll always remember books and stories, and they can always relate back to them, and it may not be relevant to them in that time, but weeks from now, months from now, they can pick that book up and they can go back over, and it can become more relevant to them. So the heavy bag has crossed borders during lockdown, and it's been used all over Europe and all over the UK and sold in stores. So I'm just really amazed at how my words have translated into so many different languages and how it's being used as a teacher as well as an author. For me, that's just amazing. I know that when I work with children, it's very important that we read stories with them and read books, and they use their imaginations, and it kind of makes them feel part of something, especially when everybody in that group is understanding and can relate to the book in some way. So although I've written other children's books, The Heavy Bag really does sit somewhere. It's very special with me because it's done a lot of good work over the last year, and I'm really excited for it to be in Romania and published by Efect, an amazing publishing house which really has a vision of where to take the book, and it's been very lovely to work with them, and I'm very excited to see where this is going to go with Efect within Romania. I'm very excited to be here today at Elephant Festival, and part of this amazing festival. Book festivals have continued throughout lockdown, and that just shows the importance of books, and specifically books for children. It just shows how we've used books throughout the pandemic, and how important books are, and also how important writing is and reading. So I present to you Ghiozdanul cel greu. It's The Heavy Bag, and it's a book that explores the feelings of grief and loss for children. It follows a little girl named Enid. Enjoy.